Hello, welcome. Thank you for joining me today. This is the reference photo I'm going to be using for this sketch. And I was out with a friend over the weekend and he asked me, how do you know where to start? So I kind of put a little mark in the center of my paper and then I split that in half and then from the middle to the bottom in half and I put 3 marks on my paper. And this is one thing that I do. I do many things. Sometimes I just sketch out most of it in pencil, but lately I've been just winging it with ink. I'm going to be using this dip pen. I've got some Noodler's black waterproof ink, and I bought this little container to put the ink in. I thought would be good for travel, but it's messy. It leaks. So if you don't want to deal with messy ink, loose ink like that, this Lamy Safari pen is wonderful. It comes with water soluble ink, so you don't have to buy this cartridge here. And you can fill that cartridge with your Noodler's waterproof ink. And it's great for travel. I carry it around with my small little mini sketchbook and that pen, and I sketch whenever I'm maybe in a waiting room or just sitting outside somewhere. If I am trying to kill time, it's a great way to. And the video before this, I did some watercolor on those mini sketches that are in, I think it's a 3.5 by 5 inch, or maybe it's 3.5 by 5 inch. I don't think it's even that big. Little mini journal. It's so adorable. I've got 2 of them, and unfortunately, they don't sell them on Amazon anymore. So I need to find something similar because the cover on them is just wonderful. So I started in the center with back to the sketch that is. I started in the center with the tree because most of that is blocking most of the building. So that way I don't have to put in a lot of those details. And it's always good to see what's in front of what. And you can put those things in, and then you don't have to put in the rest of it. And if you do sometimes put something in the back, you're going to end up with a line through your front subject, which isn't a big deal. Half the time, um, you'll sketch something over it, or you can just, when you do your watercolor, if you choose to do watercolor, you can kind of cover a lot of those little mistakes. So if you ever have a mistake, just push on. These are not. These are fun sketches. They're they're just to learn and play and enhance your skills and to have fun. It's I think sketching it's kind of, for me, it's like meditation because you're not thinking of anything else, and all you're doing is focusing on what you see and how to get it on that paper. So it tunes out all the noise in your head. And sometimes I have a lot of noise in my head. So art is a great way for me to disconnect. Just getting in those Spanish tiles, just doing kind of half little C's upside down and right side up, connecting. And put a little bit more tree to cover that up. I am leaving the palm tree out. I just decided it was just not enough in the photo for me to include it. So the sketch took me about 45 minutes, today, and I just sped it up one speed so that it's half that time. So it's a 23-minute video for today. And like I said, drawing is kind of like meditation, but also watching it, because I love to watch other artists on YouTube. I love to watch people draw and paint. It's so relaxing. So here I'm just making up my own decoration. And it's nothing perfect. I'm just making some squiggles. So this reference photo is it's called Worth Avenue, and Worth Avenue is an upscale shopping and dining district in Palm Beach, Florida. The avenue stretches 4 blocks from Lake Worth to Atlantic Ocean, and it's supposedly, let's see, it says it's Worth Avenue is arguably the most exclusive shopping district in the world and the commercial heartbeat of Palm Beach. So you can imagine the amazing shops they have in there and how beautiful it would be to go and take photos for future reference sketches. So there's a little bit of an angle in this little hallway, concourse, alleyway. I'm not sure what to call this, but it just, you could see how it's angling inwards, and it's larger and then it gets smaller as it goes into the back. So this is a great image for your eye to carry around from that tree, that beautiful pinkish purple in the tree, down into that little overhang, and then through there, and then your eye goes back up and around. So pretty. So there's some potted plants back there, and the little light that I put on the side of the doorway. And that's what's nice about this pen, because it's such a fine point that putting in that little light is doable, because it's such a fine tip that it's a little bit easier to do, and you know what it is. And then later on we'll go in with the thicker pens to do some detail, like some finishing detail. So I'm going to be putting in the trunk of this tree. I don't know what the name of this tree is. I'll have to look it up. It's so beautiful. I picked it because I do love I did a prior video that had this same tree in it, and it was located in Fort Myers. But I love that viney look of that trunk. Plants are very, very hardy down here, You you'll look at a plant, you'll go to sleep, you'll wake up the next day, it'll be a foot taller. It is truly tropical in Florida. Things grow like crazy. My dog wants to come in. So oh, yeah, excuse me a second. Come on. So, I'm back. And now she wants to go out. My dog is 14 years old, and she is getting this quirky thing where she wants to go in and out and in and out. And we just let her in and we let her out and we let her in. And we do this all day long now. It's funny how they get. And we cater because we love them. So I'm going to just put in part of this window here because, again, this is covered by that bush. So you just need to put part of it in. And then we've got some more Spanish tile here, a little bit on an angle. So when I do this tile floor, I just put some lines and then put them on a little bit of an angle so it draws the viewer's eye in because it's how they are. So everything gets smaller as it goes further away. And then I just do some cross lines that aren't perfect. I just kind of, it's not like I'm doing each individual square. You want to, when it comes to brick or flooring, you just a suggestion. So we're going to start with some, now that the ink is dry, we're going to start with some, and it doesn't take long to dry. Unless you've got some really thick, heavy spots, then wait just a little bit. Otherwise, you'll smear. So make sure, because you don't want to have to do all that work and then end up smearing that ink. That would be awful. So that's an Artist Loft palette, and I've got a number 10 round brush that I'm putting water onto the paper now, and I'm going to mix a sap green with a cadmium yellow and drop that in onto the water, and that'll just spread out, and just some little dots here and there. So again, and this is a number 10 round watercolor brush. I'll drop in some darker green in there. I should have mixed that with a little bit, so I'm going to pull that out. Didn't like that. But that'll be covered up, a lot of it, because I'll even put a little bit darker. The other two brushes I have, this one here is a flat number 6, and then I've got a number 1 for the little number 1 for some real detailed work. But these flat brushes are really nice, especially for if we're doing buildings a lot of the time, then it's great for the buildings because so everything's square, so you can just get a nicer, straighter line if you're looking for a little bit of a neater painting. And I mixed this orange. I had a little bit of paint left over on my palette, so I'm using that, but I think it was a orange, a yellow ochre, and a little bit of brown, but I think I could have probably put a hint of red in that, but it's okay. I actually like that color. It looks nice with the green. And then just a brown on the trunk of that tree. That's the beauty of it. You can do anything you want. It's your painting. You can do any color you want. If you don't like a certain color, you don't have to put it in. So I was struggling with windows lately, and I was using blue and I was using marker, and I decided to try Payne's Gray, and I really like that because it's not too dark that it looks like you've got and if you leave a little white, it looks like you've got a little bit of a glare. But I think that Payne's Gray is nice for windows. So I'm mixing up a color for that floor, the ground, but that was a little too dark. So I'm just going to do a little white, more white than yellow ochre. So I want that pretty light. And then I add in just a little bit of blue, ultramarine blue, for the shadow underneath there. And if you ever mix up some paint, you're just not sure about it, just have a little piece of scratch, a little piece of extra watercolor paper on hand near you, and you can just sample it and see how that color looks for you if you don't want to, commit and you're not sure. There's days where I just wing it and things turn out, and there's days where I'll second guess things. And here, I'm really sorry about this. I thought the camera was on and I missed putting in the pink flowers. So I used the larger number 10 round brush, and I used opera pink, and I just speckled that in, and then I took the smaller detailed brush and I used it more concentrated, with less water into the paint, and put that on top so that it had a nice, um, kind of some depth to it. I think those, it's funny, those flowers look so pink to me, but now that I have the pink down and look at them, they look more purple. So I think if I ever do these again, I'll see if I have a purple paint in my bag of tricks and try that. It's funny when you put colors next to other colors, it just changes the value and the tone of them. So here I'm using the Faber-Castell pen and just doing some outlines. I did the rail, the top of the rail, iron rail, and the bottom of the window panes. I got a little marker here, just putting in a little bit deeper color in that awning and underneath. Didn't really need to, but if all your tools are there, you start grabbing them. When it comes to brick or tile, I like to just, I don't know, do the corners here and there. I guess that's my little niche. And then a little bit of shadows. That tree trunk needs to pop a little, so putting some darker pen lines in that to make it look like there's some in shadow. That's getting to the end here. Some little lines in the windows to look like a little glare. It's a nice effect. So here is the finished sketch. When I sat with it for a little bit, I decided to add a little bit darker pink. So I went ahead and did that. And I put a little bit of darker green into the bottom of that tree and the bush. And I think that looks good. I think that turned out very nice, that little bit finishing touch. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I want to thank you for joining me. Have a wonderful day. Have a creative day. And bye for now.